Barak Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachak Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Are They Not Written? And pretty much that's speaking about the scriptures and the history and documentation, of the Bible and things that occur in the Bible. And mainly we're dealing with prophecy because we're in a time of prophecy. And like the name of the title is, Are They Not Written? And these are things that have happened in the past, things that have been spoken about, and once they were fulfilled, they were spoken of, and it was brought out to the light. The inspiration for this lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai came through a video I was watching by the priest Sha'ar out there in the Dallas camp. And as you can see here, the name of the lesson is Warrior-like Energy Will Radiate from Us Soon, Power from On High. And it's not so much based on the spiritual power aspect of the scriptures, what the scriptures say we will get spiritual powers and we will get them. But it's more so dealing with certain things that he was saying, and it brought to mind things that are written, things that are prophesied, and how they're documented down, and how prophecies, once they happen, you have a documentation of it on other parts of the scriptures, that give the sense of that particular issue, just like when Yahushua was on the scene, he would always say, what, as it is written, so on and so forth. So did the prophets or the apostles, that were of Yahushua and the ones that came later. They were writing of these things, and it got me to putting a lesson together. And as I was putting the lesson together, I was thinking about certain prophecies, and I started thinking also about what we spoke at. I believe we spoke about it at the camp Saturday, about the Apostle Tar mentioned about the Acts of the Apostles and how they were written, and then how there's going to be a new Acts of the Apostles, because we were speaking about things that are happening now. All of these great things, all this great technology is going to be written about in the kingdom of heaven. There's going to be documentation and books written about these times, just like they were written about 2,000 years ago, just like they were written about before that, all the way from the beginning. So that time, because there are things written right now that happen from the time of Yahushua all the way up until now that are actually written about, but they're also going to be documented in the new Acts of the Apostles, the new books and records and history and chronicles that are going to be in the kingdom of heaven. So the first thing that I want to touch on is we have a phrase in the scriptures called, Are They Not Written? So you have certain kings that would do certain things, and at the end of their reign, when they died, it was said in the first and last acts of the particular king, so on and so forth, are they not written in the book of such and such? Are they not written in the book of, like here we have 1 Kings 11:41, and the rest of the acts of Solomon and all that he did and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the Acts of Solomon? So do any of you guys have the book of the Acts of Solomon? Inside joke, But 1 Kings 14:29, now the rest of the acts of Rehoboam and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? We keep seeing this phrase, are they not written? Are they not written? Are they not written? Now, the part that we're dealing with, are they not written, meaning that the prophecies that are happening now, they will be written about in the kingdom of heaven. And phrases such as this, can be used in the kingdom of heaven. There's so-and-so and such, America, Babylon the Great, this happened and that happened. Are they not written in such and such book, so on and so forth? So we're moving through prophecies, but the prophecies that are happening right now are not written in a book as they're being accomplished, but in the kingdom of heaven they will. And one thing or prophecy that came to mind, was dealing with Jonah. Now Jonah was a prophet, and he was sent to do what? To prophesy against Nineveh, because that is the job of a prophet. Let's go real quick to the book of Jeremiah 28 and 8. It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. See, so these great prophets prophesied about these things against these nations, and what happened? Eventually they happened, just like Yahushua told his disciples, who later became apostles. He told them this very thing. He said, look, when they're going to set you up, they're going to send you, they're going to send you to prison. They're going to do this to you. They're going to bring you to the councils. They're going to bring you to their synagogues. And this is what he says. It says, a hard road before them. This is what the title of this is. Matthew 10:16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. And you shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. So you had testimonies that were against these nations, that were against these particular kings, that were against these particular governors, so on and so forth. That Yahushua spoke about. All right, so that is the job of a prophet, because the Lord, let's go real quick to Jeremiah 1. And we'll go straight to the point. The 5th verse, it says, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. And when you read through the book of Jeremiah, there were things that were addressed to Israel. There was things that were addressed to Moab, to Ammon, to Edom, to Ham, to the different nations. All right, and that's what we're doing right now. So the things that we're speaking about right now in prophecy will be written in the kingdom of heaven, as far as the times and the dates and whatever the Lord has set up as to their accomplishment. So when we go back to the book of Jonah, it says Jonah 1:1, it says, now the word of the Lord came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, because they were a great city at the time. They were a prominent city at the time, just like today America is a prominent city, and that's why there's certain prophecies that applied to Nineveh back then that are applying to America now, because they're going down the same route. It says, and cry against it, just like we read about the prophets, what they did. For their wickedness has come up before me, just like the scriptures speak about Babylon the Great and their iniquities coming before the Most High, right? Just like we read about just before the flood, the Lord told The Lord told Noah that he was going to destroy the earth because the wickedness of man was great upon the earth, and he told him how he was going to destroy it, and he told him to prophesy to the people before he destroyed it. So this is what the Lord is telling Jonah, to go to this place Nineveh in Assyria and prophesy against it, cry against it, for the wickedness of it, for the wickedness is come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee. And we know what happened with Jonah. Jonah ran and he went to Tarshish, and the whole situation that happened, where he tried to flee to the furthest part that he could get to, and the Lord prepared a giant fish to swallow him up. And what did that giant fish do? That was a punishment to him for disobedience, but also that fish brought him all the way back to where he had to go and prophesy anyway. It shows you just how heavy Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is. Right, so now when we go to the third chapter, the Lord, Jonah 3:1, and the word of the Lord came unto Jonah the second time, saying, arise, go unto Nineveh, that great city, and preach unto it, and the preaching that I bid thee, because it says that we're upon the watch. We stand upon the watch to see what he will say unto me, and what we will say when we are reproved. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and preach unto it the preaching that I bid thee. So Jonah arose and went unto Nineveh according to the word of the Lord. Now Nineveh was an exceeding great city of 3 days' journey. From the point that he was at, it still took him 3 days to get there. So the great fish brought him all the way from where he was at in Tarshish, way over there in so-called modern-day Spain, all the way near or nearer to where Nineveh was at. Otherwise, if he tried to walk from back then, that would have been a long walk. All right, so he had still 3 days' journey to go there. And Jonah began to enter into the city a day's journey, and he cried and said, Yet 40 days, and Nineveh shall be overthrown. Now, during the time when he prophesied, Nineveh was not destroyed. All right? And the reason why Nineveh was not destroyed was because the Heavenly Father wasn't ready to destroy it yet, because you had a big, large community of Israelites there. You know, when we deal with the book of Tobit and his son Tobias and them, they were from the tribe of Naphtali. From the tribe of Naphtali, baby, okay? You know, looking like John Shaft. Inside joke. Y'all brothers know that are privy to that. So he went up in there, he prophesied, and what happened, the Lord didn't destroy it at that particular time. But now when we go to the time of Tobit, right? When we read in the book of Tobit, we're going to go to the 14th chapter just to make a point. It says, So Tobit made an end of praising the Most High, right? And he was 50 years old when he lost his sight, which was restored to him after 8 years. And he gave alms, and he increased in the fear of the Lord power, and praised him. And when he was very aged, he called his son and the sons of his son, and said to him, My son, take thy children, for behold, I am aged and am ready to depart out of this life. Go into Midian, my son, for I surely believe those things which Jonas the prophet spake of Nineveh. See, the Lord spared them at that time, but what happened? He said he told his son to get out of here because he believed the things that were spoken by the prophet Jonas, right? That it shall be overthrown, and that for a time peace shall rather be in Midian, and that our brethren shall lie scattered in the earth from that good land, and Jerusalem shall be desolate, and the house of the Most High in it shall be burned, and shall be desolate for a time. Now let's just jump down to the 8th verse. And now, my son, depart out of Nineveh, because that those things which the prophet Jonas spake shall surely come to pass. Now let's jump down to 13th verse, where he became old with honor. This is dealing with Tobias now. Matter of fact, I started at 12. And when Anna, his mother, was dead, dealing with Tobias' mother, Tobit's wife, he buried her with his father, because that was the last wishes that his father said, that when he dies, bury his wife with him when she dies. But Tobias departed with his wife and children to Ecbatane, to Raguel, his father-in-law, where he became old with honor. And he buried his father and mother-in-law honorably, and he inherited their substance and his father Tobit's. And he died at Ecbatane in Midian, being 107 and 20 years old. But before he died, he heard of the destruction of Nineveh, which was taken by Nebuchadnezzar and Ashurus, and before his death, he rejoiced over Nineveh. See? So Jonah prophesied. It wasn't destroyed during his time, but eventually it was destroyed, and it was written about. All right? So the point is that, are they not written? The things that are happening right now, when the kingdom of heaven is established, they're going to be written about. And we're going to be able to read about it. Our children are going to be able to read about it. To see this great calamity that has happened in this time, and even before this time. All of the things that happened, during slavery. When the conquistadors first came here, all of those atrocities that are somewhat written in history a little bit, but they're not chronicled in the books of the Bible. As far as the modern day terminology that is written, but it is spoken about in the scriptures, but not according to the modern day terms of today. So when the kingdom is established, you'll see all these things written down. And when this is the first example that came to mind, and the second example that came to mind is the book of Isaiah 63:1. It says, Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? Who is the Edomites? Who are the Edomites? The so-called white people. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This is Yahushai coming from the destruction of the Edomites here in America, Babylon the Great, which is the modern day Basra, right? It says, this that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? Because he's going to be given the credit for destroying Esau, the Edomites, in America, Babylon the Great, slash Basra, slash Nineveh, so on and so forth, right? So there's going to be a great slaughter in the land of Edom, which we read also in the book of Isaiah 34. Their land is going to be destroyed, and they're going to be the land is going to be destroyed, and they're going to be destroyed here on the soils of America, right? So where is this written? Because here in Obadiah 1:18 it says, "And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them," meaning the Israelites are going to kindle in Esau and devour them, totally annihilate them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. So where is this written? Because we read about Nineveh, we read about Jonah's prophecy, we read of how during the time of Tobit it was written that before Tobias, the son of Tobit, died, it says, but before he died, he heard of the destruction of Nineveh, and he named names of characters that actually took it down, and he rejoiced over this destruction because his father had told him that Jonah prophesied about it. So where is the documentation in the books that the Lord Yahushua came back, he destroyed the Edomites, they went into slavery, as it speaks about in the 15th verse down, and then that the Israelites gathered them up and burned them up and destroyed them, and there was never an Edomite again, because you have clowns like Vocab and others that are saying that the Edomites were already destroyed, that this prophecy already happened. So where is the documentation that it happened? And we'll wait, and we're still waiting. This is a question that's been being asked for years, because if that's the case, if they were destroyed, some clowns try to say that it was destroyed during the time of the Maccabees, which they bugged out. But if that's the case, where did the Herodian dynasty come from? And you got to remember, there were more Edomites than just the Herod, than the Herodian dynasty, because John Hyrcanus I forcibly converted all the Edomites in that region at the time. So it wasn't the Edomites. It ain't just Herod and his family line. That was just one family among many Edomites. So where did they go? Where did they come from, should I say? Where did they come from? If, what these devils are saying is true, that they were destroyed. And where's the documentation that they were destroyed? It's not written about, but we read about descendants of the Edomites in the New Testament, that were still around. So when was this fulfilled, that they were destroyed? Because when we look up, we read here Matthew 2:1, "Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem." And when we look up the name Herod, right, the word Herod is the word Herodes, and it says Herod, heroic, a name of a royal family that flourished among the Jews in the times of the Messiah and the apostles. Herod the Great was the son of Antipater of Idumea, or the Edomites, appointed king of Judea BC 40 by the Roman Senate at the suggestion of Antony and the consent of Octavian. Now they could have easily put the Edomite here. Why did they put Idumea? Because they're always trying to hide the identity of the Edomites. So the point is that the Edomites were still around during this time. So what happened? Where did they go? Where's the documentation that they were destroyed? Where are the books in the Bible that say that they were destroyed? Because if they were destroyed during the time of the Maccabean Wars, surely there would have been something written in the New Testament about it. That great thing that took place. Because we read in the New Testament where, let's go to St. John chapter 10, right? We read about an exploit that took place during the time of the Maccabees in the Apocrypha. And there was, when Antiochus Epiphanes came and destroyed the temple, and 3 years later, the Judas Maccabees and the Maccabees restored it. And there was a feast that was kept, the Feast of Hanukkah, right? So we read in the New Testament, dealing with Yahushai, it says Yahushai asserts his deity. It says, and it was at Jerusalem, the feast of dedication, and it was winter. And it says, and Yahushai walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. So Yahushai and the Israelites back then were worshiping this feast of dedication in the wintertime. So what is the feast of dedication? When we read the feast of dedication, it's Enkainia, which is dedication, consecration. In particular, the annual feast celebrated 8 days beginning in December, beginning in the 25th of Kislev, middle of our December, which, that's debatable, because, we have to go by the new moons and all of that. Instituted by Judas Maccabees, 164 BC, in memory of the cleansing of the temple from the pollution of Antiochus Epiphanes. So this is written. And it's documented in the New Testament that this happened. So where in the New Testament, these Edomites, where is it written that they were destroyed? It's not written about, because it didn't happen yet. You see, I hope I'm not losing you, brothers. This is just, a point, that came to mind, dealing with, as the title is, are they not written? So just like all of these prophecies that we speak about, and these acts of the kings and different situations that happen are written about, and certain prophecies that came to pass were spoken of later in the books somewhere, like Jonah. We read about him coming again and telling Nineveh that they were going to be destroyed. It didn't happen at this time, but when we go to the book of Tobit, it happened. It happened during the time just before Tobias, which was the son of Tobit, died. The Nineveh was destroyed, as the Lord prophesied. So it's written about. So where is it written in the New Testament about the Edomites being destroyed? Where? That's pretty much the point that I wanted to make. I'm hoping that it was edifying. I hope I didn't lose anybody. Just making a point of these things will be written about. And when the kingdom is established, you're going to have these great acts that are taking place right now that are going to be written of in the kingdom of heaven. The brother, present your body a living sacrifice. Put a beautiful scripture, Ecclesiastes 4:16. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. That's right, because the only time a nation is going to be totally wiped out and destroyed is when the kingdom of heaven is established. The Edomites deal with their 1,000-year punishment of slavery, and then afterward they will be rounded up and destroyed. It says, they also that come after shall not rejoice in them. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. The point is, there is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them, because they're going to be here until the Lord says they will be destroyed. And the only nation that was said that they would be destroyed fully is the nation of Edom, the Edomites. Okay? So, like I said, I hope I didn't lose anybody. I hope brothers understand, the point of the lesson, because, our purpose is to edify, and to feed the sheep and the lamb, not to confuse anybody. So the point is are they not written? And these things will be written about. And we don't read anywhere where the Edomites were destroyed. So what happened, vocab? Where's the documentation? Matter of fact, let me get 2 precepts and I'll close out. Hopefully I can remember both. All right, cool. The first one is 2 Corinthians 13:5. Nope, that's not the one. Is it? No, I'm sorry. 1 Thessalonians 5. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 21. Prove all things, hold fast to that which is good. And the other one is Isaiah 41 and 21. Produce your cause, saith the Lord. Bring forth your strong reasons, saith the King of Jacob. Let them bring them forth and show us what shall happen. Let them show the former things what they be, that we may consider them, and know the latter end of them, or declare us things for to come. Show the things that are to come hereafter, that we may know that ye are gods. Yea, do good or do evil, that we may be dismayed and behold it together. Behold, ye are of nothing, and your work of naught. An abomination is he that chooseth you, because you are physicians of no value. You are forgers of lies. All right. And pretty much that's the point there. So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. To the next time I say shalom.